Oh. Hey, what's happening? This is Discount me, the Guy01, and welcome to this week's versus episode on Block 3 channel. This week, it's Andre the Giant against Kane. Kind of a weird matchup today, and I'll explain why I chose this matchup, because it's not Kane's birthday. So we had a few birthdays this past week. It was Zack Ryder, now going by Matt Cardona. It was his birthday on the 14th, he turned 38. It was Aleister Black, now going as Malachi Black. His birthday was yesterday, May 19th. He also turned 38. And on that same day, May 19th, was also Andre the Giant's birthday. He would have turned 77. So that's what I'm going, had Andre going, that's Andre's part, because it was his birthday, and he's the only one of those three who's in this game. So yeah, that's Andre's involvement. It was his birthday yesterday on the 19th, which is also partly why I chose Kane, because of the whole May 19th thing that they did with Kane a few years ago. So I decided to go with maskless Kane, because that was the version Kane was in when they did that whole May 19th storyline. When he fought the fake Kane. So that explains, that's the matchup. I know, it's pretty convoluted. And there is some other news that happened this past week. On May 17th, WWE Hall of Famer superstar Billy Graham passed away at the age of 79 after a series of health problems over the last few years. He passed away a couple days ago. For those of you who don't know, superstar Billy Graham was a wrestler in the 70s. He feuded with people like Bruno Sammartino and actually ended his record-setting world title reign. He also feuded with Bob Backlund. And he was the main inspiration for people like Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. Hulk Hogan basically completely copied Billy Graham's whole persona to make his own. You know, the bodybuilder-like physique, the bleached blonde hair, big mustache, the constant posing. Yeah, that was all Graham, so he passed away a few days ago. And, you know, as someone who, this word kind of gets thrown around a lot, but in terms of, like, probably most influential wrestlers, he's probably up there. I mean, to inspire people like Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair to be, like, to be the wrestler that they modeled their whole personas and, you know, careers after, you know, that, you're pretty important. So, and of course he had his own, he was beyond just being, like, you know, an influence or the blueprint for other wrestlers. You know, he did a ton of stuff during his career as well. Like I said, ending Bruno Sammartino's world title reign, you know, world champion, all that stuff. So, a very sad passing. But he did live a full life, you know. 79 years old. His birthday would actually have been next month, so he was 1 month away from being 80. So, you know, as far as wrestlers go, he lived a pretty long time. Especially for wrestlers in that era. Because wrestlers back in that era tended to die young. I mean, even less going into like the 80s, like people who were wrestlers during the 80s and 90s, they die young. Ow. So moving on to Raw, Shinsuke Nakamura beat The Miz. Poor Miz, he hasn't done really anything for the last, what, 2 years now? Um, there was a battle royal to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. Um, Notable entrants included um, Mustafa Ali, Matt Riddle, Apollo Crews, Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano, Ricochet, and several others. And out of all those people, Mustafa Ali was the one who won. So Mustafa Ali is going to fight Gunther for the Intercontinental title, which, good for him, but yeah, no one's buying it. I mean, you just know, it's one of those things, it's one of those matches where going in, you know the guy's not going to win, so it basically takes all of the, drama out of it, because there's no way they're going to put the belt on this guy. I mean, eventually they might, but not now, and especially not, they're not going to let him beat Gunther right now. Dominic Mysterio beat Xavier Woods. Before the match, Woods cut a promo basically noting how he doesn't have a lot of backup right now, implying the return of maybe either Kofi Kingston or maybe even Big E. Still pretty doubtful on the Big E one, because, he had that whole thing where basically they said, yeah, if you wrestle again, you could die. That's how serious his neck injury is, and yeah, that's not something, I think even fans would be like, yeah, don't risk it, it's not worth it. Speaking of injuries, and potentially career-ending injuries, Randy Orton was in the news recently after going through another surgery for his, I believe it was shoulder. Orton was told by doctors that he will most likely never get into the ring again due to the severity of his injury. Because he's been out for almost a year, I believe. I can't remember when he left, but I mean he's been gone for a long time by this point. And they're basically saying, yeah, you're done. I mean, there's really, you'll never be able to do it again. At least that's the rumor going around. That's what he's been told by doctors, but I don't know, we'll wait to confirm it. Given how long he's been out and how basically we've gotten zero word on his condition or even a return date, that gives an idea of how severe this thing is. But also think about this, WWE always talks about, the OVW class of 2002. It produced people like Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Batista, and John Cena. And you also had people like Shelton Benjamin in there. Out of all those people, Randy Orton was the only one to be a full-time wrestler since debuting, or since graduating from OVW, I guess you'd say, to now. I mean, that's 21 years. Or probably roughly 20, because that's when he got injured. It was last year. But, he's the only one who was a full-time wrestler for that full 20 years. Every other one of those people, took extended amounts of time off, part-time retirement, or even people like Batista, who was like early retirement, basically. Or not early retirement, again, starting in 2002. You got Brock Lesnar, who was gone after 2 years. Cena hasn't been full-time for the last 5 years. Same thing with Batista. He's been going almost 10 years without being a full-time wrestler. Orton was the only one who was full-time the whole 2 decades since that debut. So if this is the end of his career, I mean, 20 years in one company and being full-time for that whole 20 years, I mean, that's more than enough for a good career. But anyway, moving on. Uh-oh. Get off me. Veer and Sanja beat 2 jobbers, basically just trying to build up legitimacy. Come on. Choke him out. Nope. Ow. Get off me. Raquel Rodriguez beat Chelsea Green. Afterwards, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler came out and took out Raquel. Ow. Get off me. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn faced Finn Balor and Damian Priest in the main event. During the match, the other members of Judgment Day, a couple Bloodline members, and Imperium all came out and ran interference. And in the end, Finn Balor and Damian Priest were able to beat Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. It was funny seeing like every faction like run out. It kind of just reminded you of how many like tag teams and like factions there are in WWE right now, because that was the case for a long time. Like, you know, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, there were a lot more factions and teams. But recently it hasn't really been like that, so it's nice to see all these like factions, and they're all so over as well. Ow. Moving on to SmackDown. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn confronted Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, the two challengers for the undisputed titles. Shortly after they came out, the Usos then ran out to beat up Owens and Sami Zayn, which Reigns was not happy about. NXT's Pretty Deadly, making their main roster debut, beat Butch and Ridge Holland. Ow. Asuka beat Zelina Vega. Afterwards, she had a confrontation with Bianca Belair where she went for her green mist but missed. She missed her mist. Ooh, butt right to the face. The Street Profits beat LA Knight and Rick Boogs. Afterwards, LA Knight attacked his partner out of frustration. Isla Dawn and Alba Fry beat two other NXT call-ups. After that match, it was announced that Liv Morgan was injured. She didn't appear on Raw earlier in the week, and on SmackDown they confirmed that she is seriously injured enough that her and Raquel Rodriguez will be vacating the women's tag titles, and a new team will be crowned champions in a couple weeks on Raw, which kind of sucks because, you know, everyone was so happy for, you know, Liv Morgan to finally get a title on the main roster. She's probably one of the most over, you know, female wrestlers in the company right now. You have the whole underdog status. I mean, she's probably like the biggest female underdog in WWE right now. So it was nice to see her get a title, and now to see her lose it because she was injured, and it's just sad. Very disappointing. But yeah, that's the reality of wrestling. And in the main event, Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar beats the Usos thanks to interference from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Uh-oh. I tried to finish the match, but it didn't work. He reversed it. Don't make me laugh. You're not beating me. You're gonna try to chokeslam me? Good luck, buddy. I don't know what Andre's finishers are. Let me see. Hip drop, tombstone pile driver, elbow drop. Oh, okay. Coming down. Ooh. Yeah, I knew he had his resiliency. Come on, Andre. Take this bald, goofy looking guy out. Oh no. Andre, no. Oh no. Andre. Ow, ow, ow. I said this before, I think we've played as Andre in this game before, but I really don't like the look of him in this. And it's been the same look for the last few games. I forget which one it was. It might have been like 2K16, 2K17, maybe even 2K18, but I think that was like the last one that had a really good Andre model. The last few games, I don't know what it is. I think I've actually said it was like his hair is too big, like it is like too afro-y, if that's a word. And like the mutton chops are weird. And one more time. I don't know, there's just something about like the hair and like the sideburns that just make him look weird. And I think the face scan is weird too, which I don't get because it looked actually pretty good in some of the older games, so I don't know what they did. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I make videos all the time. Stay tuned for next week's Versus, and next week where we continue our Injustice 2 walkthrough. Let me know what you guys thought of this week's Raw and SmackDown. What do you think of Randy Orton's chances of returning? And anything else. Let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Guy01 and the 8th wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, signing out. Bye guys.